All right, just taking a moment here to make sure that YouTube is catching up. Doesn't always catch the first few seconds, so I'm just going to take a drink. All right. Hello. Hi. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time to Reclaim Your Peace with Mother Earth. Hi, I'm Stephanie Lindloff, eco-intuitive coach and teacher, and I support busy, anxious women to help you reclaim your peace through simple moments with Mother Earth. So glad to have you here today for my regular weekly offering. And boy, well, first of all, happy spring. It's the spring solstice, the spring equinox. How could I forget? Oh my goodness, I certainly didn't forget. I've just been focusing on some of the other things that I wanted to share with you today. But first of all, spring equinox blessings to you. Wishing you a beautiful spring. We have been in some unseasonably warm weather in the last couple of weeks, just like maybe you have if you live in the United States, like crazy high temperatures for this time of year. But in the last couple of days, it's gone back to being relatively seasonable and a little chilly. And, you know, this swing in temperatures, I think, is first of all of a reminder that we are definitely living in an age of a changing climate. And it is also a reminder that for us now, the date on the calendar is not as important or as meaningful as the conditions that we are living in, the conditions that surround us, right? This is how nature works, being attuned to the conditions, to the circumstances around you. Of course, you know, the animals are not, and the plants are not looking at the date on the calendar. They're responding to environmental cues. And it becomes much more of a process of innate wisdom and intuitive wisdom in terms of how they are able to survive and thrive. And so it made me think that just like how our logical mind thinks that things should follow a certain order, be a certain way, depending upon the date or, you know, the time or the what we've been told, what we've been taught, what we've experienced before. These are all intellectual. This is intellectual wisdom, intellectual knowledge, which serves us brilliantly in so many ways. And yet, when circumstances and situations are changing, especially within our lives where there's a lot of different things going on, which I know is the case for you, it's the case for me. We're busy people, right? And we have this opportunity. We're being invited to allow a deeper connection to our intuition, to our inner guidance that is not focused on what we know from what we've been told, what we know because of what society has told us, what we know because of the date on the calendar, for instance. We are able to step into that inner knowing, that inner truth that can guide us in so many critical ways throughout our lives. And our intuition may be guiding us to take a certain course of action or have a certain kind of response or, excuse me, or, you know, view things differently. But our intellect might be giving us very different information, very different guidance. So this balance between the two of our intellect and our intuition is such an important area for us to explore and for us to become familiar with, how we can ebb and flow between the two, how they can actually merge together into one. This is really at the heart of living a life that is guided from within, that you can call upon your inner wisdom to guide you in the most challenging moments of your life and the most beautiful moments of your life. And before I go on with a lot more about this topic, I want to let you know that you have the opportunity to learn how to create a vibrant, beautiful garden that is a sacred place for you and a place for you to cultivate your wisdom, your intuitive guidance, so that you can create greater peace in your life, greater clarity, and more fulfillment through my upcoming online course, The Eco-Intuitive Garden, a simple path to reclaim your peace, awaken your wild wisdom, and heal Mother Earth. Enrollment is open now. You can click the link below or in the email if you're receiving this through email to get all of the information about this course. Enrollment is open until April 6th, and the first module is delivered live on Monday, April 8th. It would be such a joy to have you join us in the Eco-Intuitive Garden. So learning how to balance your intellect and your intuition is not something that we're taught, right? It's just, generally speaking, something that we learn through practice. We learn through the experience of honoring both our intellect and our intuition and learning how to incorporate both into our decision making. And it's actually about creating a deeper set of connections with your mind, your body, your heart, and your spirit. These are all part of the practice of presence. You're creating a deeper sense of presence, the ability to be present in the moment where you are right now is the key to being able to balance your intuition and your intellect. And it really comes down to being able to sense it, to feel it, to be with what you are experiencing in that moment, and to allow for all of these sensory experiences of being within the moment, allowing those to inform you, to enlighten you, to inspire you, to create greater creativity and new approaches in your life. And for all of its ups and downs. And connecting with Mother Earth, with nature, is the easiest and the most enjoyable way to go about doing this, to coming back to your senses, quite literally, coming back to all of your senses, including your intuitive sense. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat today. So I have come to understand that our presence in the moment I've come to think of it as like a bridge that connects our intellect and our intuition. And this requires a willingness to cross the bridge, right? To see that this is a bridge between two parts of us that are of equal importance, and that really only one is mostly honored and held up and recognized and respected in society, and likely in many of our families as well. That being our intellect, right? Because we collectively as a human species tend to focus on our intellects. But this bridge, when we start to understand that our presence in the moment is what creates the bridge between our intellect and our intuition, it is tremendously empowering, because just knowing that stepping into that place of presence, especially if you are connecting with nature, allows you to bridge that gap. And it quite literally is a bridge that is connected within your brain from your left hemisphere to your right hemisphere, the left being logical and the right being creative and intuitive, the left being the intellectual. Creating that bridge through your presence is the key. It is the bridge. And I think that, this, well, something that I wanted to share with you, a couple of things. As I've been working with this concept of the bridge and sharing it with my clients and my students, and observing how it plays out when we make this connection between the two, the intellectual and the intuitive, and allow ourselves to travel back across that bridge over and over, or to simply, stay within the bridge and allow that flow to happen. What happens is that bridge becomes less of a temporary place, less of a place of moving from one place to another, than a place of where things are merged, where there is an interconnectivity that takes place. And a funny visual that has come to me over and over again is that being within that place of connectivity, within that bridgy place, it becomes a place where burdens can be shed, where old thoughts, old patterns, self-limiting beliefs can be shed like a layer. And because you're on that bridge between the intellect and the intuition, it's like you can just, peel off that layer and cast it aside so that it falls down into the canyon below, into wherever, the ocean below, the raging river below. It's a place where we can shed all of those things that are no longer serving us. And it is through your presence that allows this to be so powerful. A recent example from my own life that I just felt guided to share. I, have anxiety, and one of the things that I struggle with is how I'm being perceived by other people. I mean, I think that most of us have these concerns, right? And I know through the course of the last few years of growing my business and learning more about myself and my self-limiting beliefs and self-doubts, and working through all of that with my coach, my wonderful, beautiful coach, and all of the inner work that I have done through coaching and through my own work that I'm bringing to the world, I have really been able to heal these fears of being misunderstood or judged by others, especially when I'm sharing information that might not seem so traditional, let's say, a little unconventional. And so, case in point, recently I was on a social media platform for personal reasons. It was one of those community platforms through Nextdoor, which is like, Facebook for neighborhoods, basically. And I wanted to share an observation that I had made, which was that we have been finding a lot of monofilament plastic being wrapped up in our birdhouse that is used by wrens. And I have actually, so sad, have found in past years baby wrens, skeletons that were wrapped up in this monofilament plastic that their mothers had used to create the nests. And so I wanted to make a post. I had taken pictures of what this monofilament looked like when I was taking it out of the nest, and I posted it on Nextdoor with an explanation of why we need to be mindful of this, and can you please help, and here's a picture. And one of the things that I included at the very end was just a little note that was like, let's be good neighbors to our bird friends, and they'll serenade us in thanks. And that was the end of the post. Well, I had a lot of great feedback, of course. People were like, thank you for the information. I never would have thought of that. That visual was very helpful. We appreciate it. We love our birds. But then there was one person who posted something to the effect of, birds do not serenade us. They sing for bird purposes, although it's enjoyable to hear, or something like that. And I know that that might sound a little innocuous as I say it, but man, it hit me in my heart. I was like, so I'm a trained scientist. I have a master's of science and a lot of experience in environmental science and wildlife ecology. And it really hurt. It got me in my heart where I had this fear that I was being perceived as somebody that didn't understand nature, and that somebody thought that I believed that birds are just serenading us and not carrying out bird songs for bird purposes, which is probably not true, right? This woman probably did not have all of those thoughts. She just made a quick comment. Well, then not too long afterwards, another woman posted in reply to her comment saying, thank you for this needed perspective. And then that was just like, oh man, then I just felt it on every level. And I felt myself going into, like, spiraling into this place of self-judgment and self-criticism and self-doubt, and it can spiral. I mean, for any of us that have anxiety and that struggle with self-doubt and perfectionism, you know how easy it is for these types of thoughts to spiral. And I will tell you that in the past, not too long ago, maybe even last year, that incident, I would have held on to that and I would have beaten myself up for that for days, maybe even weeks. It could have been something that would truly derail me for a long time. And I say this with so much self-compassion because I have a lot of parts of me that are always wanting to do the right thing and that don't want to make any mistakes because I'm afraid that I will be, discredited or seen as, sending out false information or something like that. This has been a real healing journey for me in the process of creating my coaching practice, which, as you can imagine, is not a traditional kind of approach. And so, of course, there's going to be times where what I'm sharing does not resonate with other people. Those are not my people, I have learned. And so when I saw that this kind of response was happening to my post, I was able to just take a step back, to get into the present moment, to allow myself to feel, to tap into my senses, my physical senses, and feel what I was experiencing in my body. And as I did that, I could feel it lightening and I could feel that assurance flooding in and that self-compassion and that unconditional love from my soul, that this is just something to cast away. This is something to shed. This is another layer to shed and to throw off of that bridge. And I did. And it's been a couple of weeks now, and it is not bothering me anymore. And it didn't bother me for very long at all, maybe a few hours, truly. But I wanted to share it with you because I want you to know that if these types of things bother you, if you experience, anxiety and doubt and that self-criticism and self-judgment that can be so heavy and that can be, so depleting and really an obstacle to enjoying your life, to moving forward, to taking steps that will bring you happiness, that will allow you to bring your truest expression of yourself into the world and to share that love with the world. I just wanted to share it with you because I know that this bridge has a purpose. We are meant to be able to work with both of our intellect and our intuition. We are meant to have those both guide us day to day and remind us of who we are and how we are bringing such special gifts into the world that tapping into that over and over as a reminder of your worth, of your power, and of the importance of what you are doing in the world. It's just so important. So I wanted to share that little story with you today. I encourage you to remember that bridge. If the next time you are feeling triggered or agitated or just feeling especially harsh with yourself, I encourage you to step back and picture yourself. Well, first of all, step back, come into presence, be in the moment, tap into your 5 physical senses of, sight and sound, touch, taste, and oh my gosh, smell. I always forget one. Sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Allow yourself to be in the present moment and just be there. Be there in the presence. And picture that bridge. Picture how you can tap into the flow of wisdom that is moving back and forth between your intellect and your intuition. It is deeply healing. And from that bridge, you can easily peel off the layer of whatever is not serving you in that moment and cast it aside, cast it down, and allow it to return to the light. I hope that you enjoyed today's teaching. I look forward to joining you again next Tuesday for another episode of Reclaim Your Peace with Mother Earth. I'll see you then. Have a beautiful week and happy spring. All right, bye-bye.